Hi, everybody. It's Warren.
Hey, good evening, Warren. How are you?
Good me. How are you?
Pretty good. Can't complain. Hey, Debbie.
Hello, Debbie. Uh-oh.
She's there somewhere. I won't be on camera tonight, but I'm here taking notes.
Okay, great, great. This will be a fairly short meeting. We're going to go over what we need to do for the spring fling,
Okie dokie.
even if it's only me and Debbie.
That's fine. I'm here too.
How's life?
Can't complain.
Okay, good, good. Same here.
House
Doing
flash.
anything for Easter?
From who?
Easter. It's a holiday. I think it's Sunday.
Oh, one of those days. No. Keeping it low key.
Yeah, what's interesting this year is that Passover and Easter are the same times.
I know
So,
it's gonna be a party
so
everywhere.
everywhere. In fact,
Yeah.
I just, I was just telling someone how it really smells good in the neighborhood when they burn the bread in the street,
Yeah.
as well as I told them about the chickens, but that's something else.
Oh wow. Okay, be right back. Let me just
Okay,
grab a water. I'll be right back.
go to it. Bishop, are you there? Ms. Gonzalez? Hey, Suki. Debbie, are you on? Hmm. And Suki and Bishop Gonzalez?
I don't hear their audio. I'm not. I'm gonna request. I'm sending everyone a request to unmute to see
Yeah,
if they can.
yes, and then we'll
If
get
you guys are
started.
having an issue with your audio, you should leave the meeting and come back in if you can't adjust it, because as it stands, we can't hear you.
And Mr. Goodrich, how are you?
Doing awesome. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
There's Bishop Gonzalez. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. How are you?
Very well. Very well.
All right.
Okay, so we're gonna get started. So this is going to be an exciting meeting. Um, and I'll get into that later, but it's concerned with the spring fling and shop local. But the first thing I just want to do is welcome everybody to the meeting. I'm glad to see all of you. We have a lot of things to do, and we'll discuss them tonight. The first thing I just want to review is the farm stand, the Grow New York farm stand, and that's doing particularly well. It's building every week, and once again, I ask everyone to give support to the farm stand as well as spreading the word because there was a lot of how should I put it? A lot of demonstrations and everything when Associated closed, and we worked very hard to get this farm stand here. Um, I think it's doing very well. It's growing. It's hard to tell in the winter because it's all root vegetables. But when the full thing comes out, I think it's going to be a slam dunk. The other good news there is that I don't know if I said this at the last meeting, but they've extended the funding for the farm stand for 3 years, with this being year one. So we'll be able to really build upon this and provide a service to our community. The second thing I want to talk about is the next meeting in May. We're having a group come. I forget who they are, but they're a valid group, and they're doing this whole community needs study. So that will be something that's being presented at our meeting. So I think that you'll find that of interest. The last thing that we want to discuss is shop local. So what's going on there, and this is all hush hush unofficial, that basically we have a permit to a good location, which is Ronald McNair Park, across from the Brooklyn Museum. I believe it's going to be on June 2nd, Mia, or 4th.
It may, that fourth, that first.
The first Saturday.
Yes, correct.
Right. Now, this is our final decision making for the location is going to be on the 13th, which is Wednesday. We'll see what other places come through. So this is all pending and unofficial until it's been made official. And it should be really good. So the whole concept behind this is the following: that instead of each of the committees doing their separate events and fairs, we wanted to bring them all together to make as big as impact as possible. And I think we'll accomplish it with this fair. So, for instance, the health committee, who does a wonderful health fair under Francesca Leopold, is going to take their fair and bring it to this location. And each committee is going to do that. So in terms of the economic development, I think our mission here is to promote business in Crown Heights in our district. And this gives a good opportunity. The location is a very good opportunity because it exposes us to other community boards and districts. At the same time, ours will be going on. If the official word is that that's the place, across the street at the Brooklyn Museum, there's always an artsy people or creative people selling their goods. So it's just a good place to get traffic. Part of the thought here, and this was based upon input from our office, Mia and Dante and Khalib, is that we're going to also get the street next to the park, and we'll be having food trucks there, which should attract traffic. And the whole idea is to get as many eyeballs as we can. So our task on the Economic Development Committee is to recruit vendors. And that's a really important thing. So there's, I jotted down a couple of categories for vendors. The first one is our merchants. Do merchants want to come there and at no fee display some of their goods? Do individual artisans want to do that? Do independent contractors who do graphics and other business services want to do that? And the business services is a good point because there are so many independent contractors in our district that if we can get out the word, we'll be able to give them exposure. The same with the merchants. I mean, this is a great opportunity for merchants who have a shop, whatever it is, if you know them, to come and to have a one or two tables and display what they're doing or explain what they're doing, etc. After services is government agencies. Which government agencies do we want to invite? For instance, there's the Small Business Administration. There's a whole slew of them. So what we have to do is reach out to them, identify them, and reach out to them, and bring them in. And I'm sure we'll get a return, a good reaction from that. And the last category that I thought of was 501c3s. These are the people who, like the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, the people who provide free help for businesses, organizations like that. So that's where I stand. So the first thing I'd like to discuss is that, are there any categories that I left out that I didn't realize? Okay. So if you think of them, just contact me. The other thing is that we need people to take the responsibility to contact these agencies. So would any of you like to take one of the categories? Well, let me just put it this way. We should all take the things like merchants and independent contractors. And the people we know, we should recruit them and tell them about it and see if they want to participate. But in terms of the government agencies and the 501c3s, would anybody like to be responsible for contacting them and reaching out to them to recruit them?
I actually work for one of them. Not
Oh yeah, who do you work for? If you don't
I'm with-
mind.
I'm with the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, terrific. Okay.
Yeah.
Matthew Pitt is on the line. Hello, Matthew. Okay. I just have a question with that. I know it's gone through some changes since I was involved with them, but is there a guy named Avi still working there? He used to be on the community board.
Yeah, I'll be still with us. Yeah. Yeah.
Is he?
I'll
Okay,
be glad to
say
see you.
hello.
All right.
Okay,
And
so Warren, will you take care of recruiting them? We'll be sending out in the next week all the details. Warren,
Yes, hello.
hello. Would you take
Warren or
care?
Jonathan?
Oh, it's Jonathan. Okay, because you're on my phone, so I don't see everybody. So who works for the Chamber of Commerce? Jonathan?
But don't we have a list of contacts at the office?
Yeah, we have a list. But we
Okay,
need
so
people
why
to
don't we
fill
work
it.
with the list? I mean, I don't understand.
No, you do understand. We can work with the list, but I need someone to take the responsibility to contact a certain segment. And once that person says, okay, then we'll give you the information we have. In
Okay,
other words,
so
this is a committee function, not an administrative function.
what are the different lists that we are looking at now? This is
Either what we're interested in is government agencies
okay
or 501c3s.
in our community.
No, in the city who can come and be vendors and display their information at the spring fling. So if the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce came, they would come, they would table, they would tell people what they do, what's available, how they help, etc.
But they're a government agency, not a 501c3. Maybe Department of
Debbie,
Business Services would be able
Yeah.
to give us that type of information.
We'll get
Um,
that. That
actually,
information
Brooklyn
we'll
Chamber
get.
of Commerce is a nonprofit.
It's a nonprofit, Debbie.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
So
thinking
forgetting
of
about
I'm
the
thinking
list.
of DBS.
Okay, so Debbie, do you want to be responsible for taking care of the government agencies? We'll give you a list of
Okay,
who they are. Terrific.
okay.
Thank you. Thank you. And in terms of the 501c3s, any volunteers? So those are going to take more identification, but we will have some people, but we need someone to contact them and to explain the event, which will give you a one-sheeter on that will, be able to come and promote their organization.
Yeah, at least for the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. This is Jonathan. For the Brooklyn
Hi,
Chamber of
Jonathan.
Commerce. Hey, for the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, once you have the one sheeter, I can get that to the appropriate people and you know. So,
Okay, and would you be able to identify other organizations that should be contacted?
yeah, you know, there are some that I'm in communication with, so some.
Excellent. Okay, terrific. That would be great. So that's good. In terms of the merchants and independent contractors and provider of services, we'll be doing some generic information and handouts. And for the vendors that you use or you know personally, if you could get the information to them, it would be terrific. Okay? Yes.
Who are you speaking to?
I'm speaking to the committee.
Okay.
So if if you're, like I know some food stores, or I know some restaurants, and I know some clothing stores, and we'd like to give them the opportunity to come and get some free publicity and PR.
Okay, so can we do a flyer and, I mean,
Yeah, that's
toss
what
a
I'm gonna
flyer
do.
out? I mean, I think that's the
That's what
most
we're gonna
logical
do.
way to do that.
Yeah, but instead of, I call it a one-sheeter. That's what I meant by that, Debbie. It
Okay.
describes the event. The 100% yes.
Yeah, so that way we'll get we can get feedback from them as to whether they
Ex-
would like to do something like that. I mean,
Exactly.
and we can also reach out to the Merchant Association. You know,
Are there any active merchant associations at this point that you
well,
know
isn't
of?
there someone that is, overseeing that in
No,
the community?
no, because I'm not aware of any that are actually functioning. I know that there is a Flatbush Merchants Association, but
Mhm,
it's from, I believe, Parkside on down.
mhm.
And the other Flatbush Merchants Association that we used to work with, that I forget the young lady's name, but she used to run. I don't know if that's active. I'll find that out. And if that's the case, we'll definitely go through them. I don't think there's any other, but I'll check Kingston
Yeah,
and also I know Nordstrom. That was, remember Pia?
right.
She she used to run that, but I don't think that's in existence anymore. But we'll check it
What
out.
about maybe the woman that does the ceramics? I think she had something to do with that as well.
Oh, of course, I remember her. Yeah, we'll check that out. That's
Yeah,
easy for me to do.
right.
Good suggestion. Um, have you ever heard from Dale lately, Debbie?
I've been trying to reach Dale for the longest, even when I was doing the the Economic Development Committee as the chair. I tried reaching her
Mhm.
out on numerous occasions, and I haven't been able to do so. So I sent emails, I called. So I don't
Okay,
know. The
so
only
we'll check
thing,
with Pratt.
yeah, so we can follow up with the organization and see if she's still there.
Exactly. Okay, good.
Actually,
All right.
she's moved on. She's at Bed-Stuy Gateway Bid now.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yep. Yeah, she
because
moved
when
on.
I
That's
went on
great.
their website, she was still on there.
Yeah, they haven't fixed that yet, but yeah,
Oh
she's now the
gosh.
director of that bid.
Okay.
That's good. So, Jonathan, if you speak to us, send our regards.
Okay.
Okay, she was terrific. She used to do a great event on Flatbush Avenue, which was good.
Would have
Suki, are
been,
you there?
yeah, it would have been nice to know that she moved on,
Yeah,
E-
but that's
Yeah,
life.
I
Yeah.
know.
All right. Matthew, are you here, Matthew Pitt?
Yes, I'm here. Hey, Warren.
How are you, Matthew?
I'm doing good.
Everybody, this is Matthew Pitt. I'm not sure of his current job, but he was working for one of the elected officials, and he was like a liaison to the board. And then he was working for elections, Matthew,
Yeah,
for
campaign
doing
finance. Campaign finance board.
campaign finance, and he's a terrific young man. So what's going on, Matthew?
I'm doing good. I'm just here as a resident of CB9, but right now I work at the mayor's office.
Oh, terrific. Terrific. So do you have any suggestions or people who we can identify to invite them into this fair or segments that haven't been mentioned?
From EDC?
From whatever from your work, from the whole shebang.
Um, None right now. Just give me like maybe a few seconds or a few minutes to think about it, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, but we can also take longer than that because we're not making a final announcement until the 13th. And at that point, in the interim, I'll work on a one-sheeter for the Economic Development Committee, describing what we're doing. I'm sure that the office will be doing a generic flyer or one-sheeter on what's going on, and we can go from there. But any assistance that you can give us would be terrific, Matthew.
All right, no problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that's all I have to say. Does anybody else, have any suggestions, ideas, or would you like to wait until you get the materials and we start doing some, the generic identification that I'll take responsibility for?
Warren,
Yes, yes, Bishop.
I have a parent who owns the IOP down in Coney Island, and he's Black and is Black owned. So
Okay.
is he allowed to bring a table? And then we
You know,
have Mashoud, who is one of our designers, Black owned also, over there in on Fulton and Bed-Stuy, and maybe he can come also over. So I would just need the flyers, and then those people in my orbit that are Black owned business, members of the community, we can give it out.
Okay. I just have to check that. We're having an executive board meeting, I think, next week.
Okay.
That will we allow people from outside of our district there? I certainly have no problem with that, but we have to make that official, and it's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up, Bishop.
Yeah, because if it's Black owned, it's Black owned, no matter where they come from.
That's true.
It's Black owned.
That's true. Right. But the major issue is to promote the businesses within our district.
Okay.
I have no issue with it, Bishop. Let me bring it
Okay.
up to the executive board.
No problem.
It's above my pay grade.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Would anybody else have any comments?
Good
Does
evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, who is this?
Janice.
Hi, Janice.
Hi there. So, once the letter is actually accepted by the exec board, or does it have to get accepted by the entire community board? Does it have to be voted on? What's the story?
No. It depends. In terms of the event and everything, the executive board just has to approve. In terms of allowing people from within the district or outside the district to attend, that's something that hasn't been discussed, and I just don't want to say yes or no because it's not my decision. But we'll be doing that with the executive board and the admin from the office.
Okay, so is there a mailing list that the letters could go to that is?
Oh yeah, we have loads of lists. We have a whole bunch of business directories. We have lists of the different 501(c)s, and I'm sure we have lists of the government agencies. And also, we obviously have identified all of our elected officials, and this will all be going out to them. But the key is not the list, because that we can provide. But the key is to be responsible for an individual to contact people and recruit people for the event.
Yeah, because hopefully if the letter, once the exec board approves the letter and then you make it available, then, I know for me, I shop in the neighborhood. I could
Right.
just see the manager of the store, give it to the manager. But is the letter going to have like a website where they can go to and register?
That I don't have an answer to. I know that the office has done a Google form. Let me clarify that.
Okay, so
Let me-
that will be, so the
It will be
Google,
a contact thing, yes.
Just very quickly, anything that's disseminated by the community board will always have the contact information for the district office on it.
okay,
So
so,
anybody who have a question about the event can email or call the district office after the flyer or the one pager is generated.
okay, they can email, but is there like, I guess they would email the community board
They
and
can
then
email or
tell,
call.
They
We're
can
in the
email,
office every day
call,
9
or
to
go
5.
on social media.
okay.
Yes.
How
or
you
they
doing,
can
Mia?
simply-
In terms of the letter, who's drafting that letter? Because I mean, I would like to see what that letter looks like
Yeah, it's not going to be a
prior
letter.
to
It's
it
gonna,
going anywhere
of
as a
course,
committee.
of course. It's not going to be a letter. It's going to be a one-sheeter that explains the
flyer?
event. Like a
Like-
flyer.
I like a flyer.
Flyer.
Okay.
Right, but
Mhm.
more with dots
so-
saying what's, that's how I envision it.
Okay, so I
What's
think
your reaction?
I think we need to have like a plan in terms of how this thing is being disseminated, because I'm
Okay.
still not clear. I hear things, being thrown out, but I think something needs to be laid out so we know exactly what's going on here.
Yeah, I agree. And I look right now.
And
we have,
for things to be all over the place,
things,
it's not.
things won't
Yeah.
be all over the place, Debbie.
So
Basically,
so if we can have a nice laid out plan of what
definitely.
we are working on, that would be good.
It will. And what I'll do is once everything is approved, I'll generate what we have. I'll generate the people responsible for contacting X, Y, and Z. And then the generic people who are gonna, just like Janice just said, approach our merchants and everything else, which would be great. That's exactly what I had in mind, but we will do that. And maybe once the one shooter is there, we'll have another meeting, a quickie, just to go over everything and make sure that committee's input is heard.
Okay, so I mean, I was speaking about prior to giving it to the exec board as a committee, it's we, as opposed to I. So I think that, everyone should be able to look at that layout plan and say, as a consensus,
I
and
just
say,
said yes
okay,
to that, because
Yeah.
Debbie, it's not I, it's we. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, and make that very clear.
okay,
But the other part is, it has to be done, and then we'll send it out to get approval of the committee. And also suggestions, because you guys may have better ideas than other people. All right?
okay, so it will be good, yeah, if we're all on the same page.
Yes, exactly. It's very important.
Yes.
All right. Any further discussion?
So I just want to understand. So you're
Yes.
saying that next week you're going to present the proposal to the exec board to approve, but I don't know. I think I'm kind of like Debbie saying, what is being presented? Just the
Yes, yeah,
proposal?
what's being presented.
Or do you have a sample of the template?
I think Warren dropped off the call. I have to let him back in. I think what Warren is presenting to the executive committee is the option of who will be allowed to table. Will it just be confined to district businesses or organizations within CB9, or if they're willing to go borough-wide in terms of participants? The event date and the event idea is already locked in place. That is the only thing that Warren is taking before exec next week.
Oh, so
Yeah,
then he's,
I apologize. I was for some reason it shut off. Yeah, the event is taking place, and what we're doing is we're one of 10 committees that are going to participate in it. So the structure is going to be what I described in the park, and each committee is going to get a section. And the central office, our office, will take care of the central publicity and what has to be done. And
Okay.
Janice, what we need to do is just just agree on what the economic committee wants to do. And I think a
Right.
good point
Correct.
to start discussion is for me to generate a one-sheeter, send it out to everybody, and then we can talk again and, put our heads together to do a final plan.
That's it. Yep. That's
Right,
it.
right. That's it.
Okay, good. So that's what we're gonna do.
Okay.
Okay, so does anybody have any new business they'd like to discuss? Any old business?
Oh,
All
you know
right,
what,
well-
Warren,
Who is this?
this Janice again.
Hi, Janice.
You said there's 10 other committees that's going to be participating, right?
Yes, except that it's really actually 9 because there's no executive committee.
I'm sorry?
I said actually probably 9 because the executive committee is going to be the central committee to do
Okay,
the stuff I was just saying.
right. Okay, so in other words, the education committee, safety committee, all of
Yes.
that.
All that stuff. And we'll each have real estate in the park where you can, will be set up by, this is how I'm envisioning it. We could be set up by committee. And then everybody can, the health committee could have their blood pressure, their whatever they're doing. So what it is we're trying to have as big as impact to as many people as we can. And I think being united is stronger than individual. This is my personal opinion, but everybody else agrees. Being united is more impactful than being separate.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent idea that all the committees are actually coming together for that for one event. I think
Yeah, I'm
that's
glad.
crucial.
Yeah, I think it'll be very good. And the location, if we do finalize with Ronald whatever it's called, McClare Park, I think it's a great location that can give who's ever there exposure not only to people in our district, but to community board aid, to the people who come and visit the museum, the whole bit. And
Then
we
maybe the
probably-
museum might have some discount giveaways or something.
we'll be contacting them. You
Mhm.
just answered a question that I had, and I didn't have it on my list. Cultural institutions. I'll ask the district manager to contact them because he already has liaisons who he deals with. But that was a great input. Thank you, Janice.
You're welcome.
But Warren, I think when we're dealing with cultural entities like that, I think there needs to be a letter drafted in terms of sending to the head of these organizations so that
Yeah,
they
well,
know, and they
I agree.
designate someone to, speak on
I
their
agree.
behalf. It's just not by word of mouth.
No,
So
no,
I
no.
think,
We have
yeah,
very good relations with the museum, with the library, with Prospect
yes,
Park.
yeah,
And that's Dante's
the Parks
forte.
Department, yeah.
Exactly. So I'm going to ask Dante to do that, and I'm sure
Yeah.
he'll write whatever appropriate. And
Okay.
he's been working with these people, so it's not out of the blue.
No, but we're planning an event. So you want to be professional about what you're doing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And that's what
Yeah.
we're going to be.
So that's all I'm saying.
Agreed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second?
I just had a quick something to say.
Oh, it's
Who
Suki.
is that? Suki, I've been calling you for the last half hour. What's up?
Hey, no, it's not a major thing. Just if you are invited to institutions, you might touch base with Nicholas too, because he's the head of Parks and Culture. So I don't know what
I
they're.
agree. The way we have the spreadsheet set up, I haven't looked at it lately, is that if there's a certain committee dealing with an institution and they have the liaisons, etc., then of course we'll be doing that. It's a good point, Suki.
Although I
Oh, you know
also
who
agree
else
with
I
you
just-
that it's an important part of economic development. They all have their little of
Oh, yeah.
such, and I do bring in a lot of
I mean,
foot
if you-
traffic,
I
so
mean,
I
and
can
it's the
totally
same thing with the
understand why you would want
hospitals.
to do that.
You know, look, the biggest employer in our district is the health
Exactly.
sector. And then I'm sure right after that are the institutions, the libraries, the botanical gardens, the museum. And that's a very important
Exactly.
part of, you know, our fabric for our residents. Okay, so look,
Definitely.
if anybody has any ideas beyond this conversation, and you'd like to convey them, you know, immediately, contact the office either by email or phone. And then once the executive board meets and we get the go ahead, then I'll do what I have to do, dispense it to the committee for their comments, suggestions, and approval. And then we'll move forward. Okay, but any ideas? I mean, there was just 2 ideas I didn't have on my list, so thank you. So, and also transportation. Yes, speak to. All right. So the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all. I appreciate it. And I look forward to implementing this with you. Have a nice night.
Okay, good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Take care.
Good night.
Good night.